Thank you for joining on another episode of Tennis Volley Talk with Brian Danielson. Hey, today, what I'm going to be doing is talking to uh, an ex-women's tennis pro that used to play on the pro circuit back in the 80s. Back then, she was known as Kathy O'Brien, but now Kathy Alex. But anyway, with that, it was really kind of an interesting thing because she's kind of taken a path that led her to Minnesota at this time. And she now is a teaching professional pro at one of the little local, at a, addition in one of the small housing additions in the Twin Cities called North Oaks. But how she may have got to that point, we'll be asking and finding out a little bit more of her tennis journey. Kathy, thank you so much for joining me on Tennis Volley Talk today.
Oh, thanks for having me, Brian.
So, yeah, you're so welcome. So now, anyway, how did you end up getting into Minnesota? Were you born in another state and then you grew up in another state and then gradually you kind of filtered into Minnesota in that respect?
I was raised in La Jolla, California, grew up and developed as a player there in Southern Cal, and went to UCLA and then was playing pro tournaments prior to going to UCLA. I started playing pro tournaments at 16, but didn't really turn pro until after college. But yeah, so I went to UCLA and played the pro tour afterwards and traveled. And then when I decided I had enough, I had to go back and finish my degree at UCLA because I, wanted to do that. And my dad, being an academia that he is, he wanted me to finish my degree. So I went back, finished my degree, and that's where I met my husband. He was from San Pedro, California, which is the harbor of Los Angeles. So met him, and I got married, had our first child a year later, started coaching college tennis at a college there for 15 years. And then my husband and I, my husband is Greek, full Greek, and he had a real desire to live in Greece.
Okay.
And so we moved to Greece for 10 years.
Oh, that must have been amazing.
In 2001, I resigned as the coach at Marymount University. And then, we moved our whole family. At that point, I had 7 children, and I had my 8th. I was pregnant with my 8th, and we sold everything, packed up, and we moved to the country of Greece. No job lined up. Actually, had a little place to stay for a little bit, but then my husband got a job quickly on Crete, and then. So long story short, after 10 years of living there, my children one by one started to come back to the U.S. to go to college, and most of them were coming to the Midwest. And two of my daughters were actually in St. Paul. One was going to Northwestern here in St. Paul. And so, we just wanted to be near them. And so we moved back to Minnesota to be closer to our kids. That's how we got to Minnesota.
Oh, sure. Well, that must have been really kind of interesting in itself. Now, and I'm sure that eventually, like growing up when you did and playing tennis, what age was tennis, or was your dad a tennis person, or did he play tennis, or what got you into tennis at what age did you get in there, and what age did it just kind of the bug got you? Yeah, it hits all of us tennis players. The bug hits you.
Right, exactly. Well, I think I kind of played around with my mom. My dad actually had polio when he was a child, so he couldn't really run very well. But I ended up just playing with my mom. My mom and dad had 7 kids, so we had to all take turns with my mom.
There you go.
And she didn't like that we had to. Every time she played with us, the most of the time you're picking up balls, not really playing tennis, picking up balls. So she finally said, if you can't hit 10 balls against the wall in a row, I'm not going to play with you. So that's what I did. I went and hit against the wall and made sure I could do 10 in a row, forehands and backhands, and then she would play with me.
Oh my
so
goodness.
That was probably around the age of, I think it was around the age of 10, 9, 10. And then I was a multi-sport athlete, played softball, did gymnastics. And when I was entering into I think it was my 9th grade, my dad decided to take a sabbatical. He's a research scientist at UC San Diego, started the Department of Human Genetics and Neurosciences there in 1969. So we moved to Switzerland for a year, and I, didn't do any sports there. It was just so I just saw my racket in the closet, and I said, when I get back, I'm going to commit myself to playing tennis, and that's what I did. 15, and I was, it was really a interesting thing because in Southern California, there's tennis courts everywhere. I could practice everywhere. Played 5 hours a day. Got really, really good, really fast, and I ended up qualifying for the national championships. My first year or second year 16s, and then it was all downhill, all uphill, I should say.
Yeah,
from there,
more downhill nowadays with us, but with our age.
yeah.
But no, it's really, and now myself and kind of growing up in that same era, because you're around my age anyway. But other than that, with that age, so with that, I mean, I myself kind of grew up on the old white cement tennis courts at the high school with the painted yellow lines, the chain link fences. Got under the wing of the old guys at the tennis court at the time that were in their 40s and 50s, that kind of took us young bucks under their wing, so to speak, and then got us to playing with all of them. And of course, us being young bucks back then, thinking we could beat these old guys, but boy, did we learn something different back then.
Yeah.
Those older people could really run us around ragged, and we're going, how can we beat these guys?
Those wooden rackets and those short back swings, they sure know how to just keep the ball in play.
They did.
Used to play, I was playing at the La Jolla Rec Center. That's where my main training place was. And all those old guys, they were just there to play with you anytime you wanted, and they just kept the ball in play, and it was fun playing with them. Yeah.
And plus with that, them being able, them wanting not only, and probably the best thing for you is back then, a young girl back then being able to hit with the guys too. And you got a more of a different strength, and the ball coming off of a little harder than a lot of other places that you were, hitting with. But yet that's a good thing to actually grow up with the guys and hitting with the guys too, because it does form your game, I feel, probably a little bit better at the time.
Well, that's a good thing to think about. I think the game has changed tremendously since then. So, one of the things that is interesting is you look at the U.S., Wimbledon, and the grass is different. The way where it's worn out used to be on the center service line area.
Yep.
And now it's on the baseline. And they have slowed the game down by changing the grass to all rye. And they've also changed all the hard court surface. They've added more sand to the U.S. Open and the Australian Open. So the game is slowed down. So the game is much more of a baseline game. And now, when my generation was all about the continental grip and get to net as soon as you can, and so I was an extremely good doubles player in college, and but it's interesting because I actually was able to practice a lot with Karen Heinz Sussman, who was a Wimbledon champion.
Oh my gosh! That must have been.
But she is 15, 20 years older than me, but she still could beat me.
Oh, yeah.
She was still really good. So that would always made me mad. But
gosh.
She was a great player, and she won Wimbledon. So
that is amazing in itself to be able to play with somebody like that, and actually an actual Wimbledon champion. too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just amazing in itself. I mean, to actually have that, with everything. But with all the YouTubers out there. But I just want to make a mention, you YouTubers, be sure and watch my YouTube tennis volley talk on my channel. But then also you podcasters out there, you're going to be hearing about Racket of the Day, and I will be talking about the Racket of the Day with Kathy here pretty soon. And but also you guys like, subscribe, and comment, and then, if you want to take a look at of the Racket of the Day, then you can go to my tennis volley talk on YouTube. But with growing up with that kind of an experience and being young at that time and having, learning those strokes. But then, of course, by you playing as much as you did, because myself, I kind of started a little later, and I probably started about 15, but I didn't have the teaching and going out and hitting with people that were really good all the time. I just got in with the older guys at the court. So I just kind of developed my game over the last 50 years, though, myself, which I feel that I've come up with a pretty good game in playing. I still get out there and try to play singles, even with the younger guys out there, too. So still, it's fun to be able to have that in your blood still, and being able to still get out at our age and still play singles.
Yes, well, I love to play singles for sure.
Oh, I do too. That's the challenge of it all anyway, in doing that. But with that too, and you're right. I mean, must we give kudos now to Iga Swiatek taking and beating Amanda Anisimova, but then also Jannik Sinner taking revenge and getting revenge against Carlos Alcaraz. But congrats to those two for their Wimbledon victories just this last week. And boy, what a match! Both, I mean, Iga was just on fire anyway. I think probably Amanda was a little bit nervous and just kind of just wasn't really prepared for the situation. And she just was not hitting her serve hard at all. She was just pushing it. And the more she couldn't get it in, the more frustrated she got. And then it just kind of snowballed from there, which I do feel kind of bad for her, but she just probably was overwhelmed by being in the final anyway. Who knows?
Yeah, that's tough, and it's in the moment. Yeah, and plus after you have a big win like she did in the semis, sometimes your emotions are so great, and then you come out the next day or the day after and you're just flat. So that does happen in competition. So I mean, I give her all the credit in the world for getting where she got. That's amazing. I saw her play for the first time at the Orange Bowl in the 16s in Plantation, Florida. I was down there for a coaching event too, and I was so impressed with her at that age. She was some tall, skinny little girl, and she just was such a fighter. So I'm really proud of where she's come, and she's dealt with a lot of things. So it's good that she was able to get there. Yeah. Oh,
absolutely, it was. And then as far as then when I've heard that now, and I think they usually, and I don't know if they still do, have one of the big major tennis tournaments in Ojai, California. And which is, and I don't know if it's still going or not, but I hear Ojai, that little tournament, I hear is one of a real good tournament in California, in Ojai.
Yeah. It's it has a lot of different divisions and high level divisions. So you have the top high school division, and you have the actual junior 18 and under and 16 and under divisions. I don't believe they have 14s. And then you have all the different levels of college tennis. So at that time it was the Pac-10 for me. So I played all girls 18s. I think I was a finalist in the girls 18s, and then won the doubles. And then I played Pac-10 as a college player, won the doubles. Didn't win the singles, but my picture's up. They have these. It's a very traditional. Lots of pictures from 19 whatever 50s all the way up to current, all the photos of everybody. So it's so fun to take my kids there and show them.
Oh,
there's me.
Yeah, that's me right there. Look at that beautiful forehand there.
Well, it's just it's the awards there. Right?
Oh, the awards. Okay.
Trophy in here. Yeah.
Oh, that's a nice trophy. I like that one. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, with that too, in going through that, in going through the process and learning and going and getting into the U.S. Open and turning pro when you did, and you even tried to go into singles with any of the Grand Slams and played some singles, but there were. Back then, you had like Rosie Casal, you had the Chris Everts, you had the Navratilovas, Martina that was coming up. You had those girls that were like really good, and you kind of went, wow, gee, they are really a lot better than what they look that they are. So, but you were more into the doubles part of it anyway, then, right?
Well, no, actually, it was opposite. It's interesting because in the juniors, I never played one doubles tournament in juniors.
Okay.
Maybe one at the national championship on grass in Philadelphia. That was probably the only time.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know how to play doubles, and then I got to UCLA and you play a lot of doubles there, and I got really good, and I ended up being a runner-up in my senior year to the national championship. So I knew how to play doubles, and then I was also, playing the tour mainly in singles, starting at 16 because
that's right.
Yeah, they didn't really have a lot of doubles. It was mainly singles, and that was the whole goal. Is that I wanted to be a pro and top pro in singles. I never ever considered being a doubles specialist like people are today. You played singles. Doubles was just a second thing you did. Maybe to get a little bit of extra practice time and hitting time and maybe a little extra money. But no, it was always my goal was to be, a good player in singles. Okay. And, kind of the opposite happened. I was only top 150 in singles and top, I believe, I don't even know because I looked, I didn't even consider looking at my ranking in doubles. I believe that I was in top 30 because I got into every tournament in doubles, so I don't even know. But yeah, and I think it was interesting because I was a college player, played 4 years of college tennis, and then played all the Grand Slam, well, not all of them, but Wimbledon and U.S. Open numerous times. And it was like one match that we played, that's when I played with Terry Holiday, and I think it was the second round of the U.S. Open, and we played Pam Shriver and Martina Navratilova, and we took a set off of them, and it didn't surprise me at all. They were number one in the world. I knew that I was a good doubles player, so it wasn't, and I looked at them, and they wrote an article about that match later, and the title of the article was something about what do you do when your opponents are hitting off their heels? sort of meaning like, when they're playing out of their brain. And that's what offended me so much because I was just a really good doubles player, and they hadn't even played that much together as a team. Furthermore, my experience as a doubles player was probably better than theirs, more than theirs, because they've never played college tennis. Yeah, so,
that's right.
Anyway, so going around your question, and the long story short is that I always wanted to be a singles player, but it turns out that I was actually a better doubles player. But I didn't ever, nowadays if I was top 30 in the world in doubles, my gosh, you could stay on the tour.
You could
travel.
You could.
Back then, you didn't even think that was anything. So,
oh my God! Just think.
I kind of retired a little bit too early. I think I stopped playing a little too early.
Oh my God! Just think of Paul Harthuis. He played up until mid-40s, playing doubles.
I thought 24 was a little bit too old to play.
I know.
Continue playing.
Oh my goodness! And nowadays,
I retired at 24.
Holy man, that is crazy. But still, to be able to have that experience and being in the big. Now, when you it was like right around about the 80s is when they went to Flushing at the US Open, right?
Right. I played it the first year, 1978. That's when
78 when they moved there, and they had moved from then from the old like in Forest Hills at the Westside Tennis Club at that stadium, which is such a rich stadium to even look at. That stadium is gorgeous. I actually went there last year and saw the Forest Hills Stadium, and it was just beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Got to see a tennis event, the Ultimate Tennis Showdown, that Patrick Monaglou produced and invented, which is really a good format, really fun thing to watch too. But I did that because of my podcast. I got to interview over the phone with the historian gal for the Westside Tennis Club. So I was able to go see the grounds and take in the tennis event and have lunch and everything. It was great. Even saw Bud Collins' library that his widow gave to Westside Tennis Club. So that was really a fun adventure too.
Nice. Yeah.
In which I'm going to be going back to the US Open Fan Appreciation Week this year too. So it'll still be fun to be able to watch that too. So that was just a fun thing with it too. And then getting out there and then playing with the pros and just making, but with you, and I feel that a lot of people just have that inbred because they have had the opportunity to play as much as they did with as many people that were better than they were, and they just were out and playing more and more and more. Me, I just think maybe I started a little late, but yet I still kept it up, and then I've developed my game from where it is. But so many that just have that natural ability just to make it look easy, and it probably came eventually really easy for you as you grew up playing tennis too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting because I think there wasn't as much knowledge back then on the fundamentals, and so I didn't really have very much solid coaching on things.
Mm-hmm.
So I've as a tennis teacher, as a coach now, I've changed my game, and I'm a much better player now than I was when I was even on the tour. So I wish I could move, and I wish I could have the body of that 20-year-old. But I think it's it's the game has really developed in a lot of ways, and it's it still is developing. So
it is. It's developing all the time.
Yeah.
It is changing all the time with that, and also with that too. With me and growing up as much as I have with tennis, I've had the opportunity to be able to see the Connors and the Stan Smiths and the Bob Lutzes and everything. Of course, I came from Tulsa, Oklahoma too, so. They had a Bank of Oklahoma tennis tournament that came through for 10 years there. So I was able to see a lot of the pros on the circuit, Eddie Dibbs, Jimmy Connors. I've seen Eli Nastasi, even Vidas Gerulaitis before he, passed away, which I really think that he would have been one of the premier commentators to this day if he was still alive. Vidas Gerulaitis was such a commentator, so good at it. And I have pictures of him too, hitting and playing tennis. And with the WCT, I was in 76, I saw Borg and Vilas, and then 78, I saw Eddie Dibbs and Gerulaitis play in the WCT tennis finals.
So fun.
It just absolutely a joy. And of course, me having the old 35 millimeter, I have like thousands of pictures, 35 millimeter pictures of tennis players over the years.
Wow.
Which has been fun in itself too. And then of Tulsa also back in the day used to be, even for the juniors back then too, Tulsa Tennis Club that was founded in 1929 was actually a big hub for the junior tournaments that came through Tulsa, Oklahoma, and they played on the green clay courts at Tulsa Tennis Club back in the day. So McEnroe came through Tulsa, and Chris Evert and Navratilova, I think, but I'm not sure. But they went through Tulsa and played in the juniors and the junior tournaments in Tulsa back in the day too. So that was a nice little tidbit of history that they came. Tulsa was a big hub to be able to get all of that stuff going through Tulsa at the time. And then plus, plus having the Bank of Oklahoma tournament there for 10 years, having the likes of those players come and play, just amazing in itself. Even, saw Brad Gilbert, and he won the event once. And then, Pat Dupre used to be on the tour also. I saw him play there at the Bank of Oklahoma. So I've had my opportunity to see and be around a lot of the tennis pros in my growing up in my years. So, and it's just a marvel at how easy they make it look, though, too.
Yeah.
Wow. With that. And then with that, I did happen to have a friend of mine that actually sent me a 1976 World Team Tennis program from whenever they had World Team Tennis in Tulsa, Oklahoma, too. And of all things, Chris Everett was there. And then also there was your doubles partner, Terry Holiday, that was also at World Team Tennis in Tulsa, too. And she actually beat Chris Everett 6-1 in her match. That night. And it was just amazing to imagine. I think I do have the picture of her, too, hitting the ball. One of the balls. I may have to try to find that and bring it to you and let you see it. Whenever I see you next. But another one of the autographs that he ended up getting, he also got Betsy Nagelson too, which was one of the players back then. But he also and really actually I have pictures of both Francois Dour and then Fru McMillan. But the one that is the golden goose of the autographs that he didn't realize that he got, that I now have in my possession, Bobby Riggs.
Yes.
Wow. I have his autograph now.
That's good. You gotta get Billie Jean's now, Billie Jean King.
That I know. Somehow I have to. Maybe you can influence and get a hold of her and tell her to send me an autograph or something.
Yeah, she's an amazing person.
Oh.
She'd love to give you her autograph.
No, I'm sure. Somehow I'd have to try to get a hold of her, but I don't really know how. I've tried, and I one of my days with this, I've kind of discovered that this podcast has kind of gone from, it's kind of gone to grassroots tennis and how their journey in tennis started and where they're doing it now. Which has been fun in doing the research, and not along with that, being able to talk tennis also, which is in our blood. Once in our blood, it's there, and you can't get rid of it for as long as we've been playing.
Yeah, that's true.
And so sometimes one of my goals is to have a actual tennis pro be on my podcast and interviewing them, but maybe it might happen sometime. It just have to find the right venue and right time and be at the right time and right place and have them call me or something. Who knows? But glad enough that I found you, that you were on the pro tour, which is always great to have you too with this interview.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, I'll do my part. I mean, I know a lot of them, the ex-pros, and I know some of the current ones too, but I'll see what I can do.
Yeah, that would be, so wonderful to grow it that way, and actually learn their time, because a lot of the tennis podcasts out there, and they talk a lot about in the now and all the pros that are hitting right now and all of that, but none of them really talk about the grassroots of how they started and what got in their blood and how it happened for them and what they're doing now within tennis. Most of the pros back then, I feel, were now still within the game of tennis and having something to do with tennis, because that's what they've done and that's what they've always loved to do.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think a lot of pros have different journeys too after they retire.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And that's what my podcast has turned into, and I just feel that that's such a nice way to be that way with with this podcast because it's more of a grassroots and learning the person's journey, even being, a college tennis player that has gone in and done a tennis aspect of it now. But that's the fun thing about it, is learning the journey that they've had over the years too, in playing tennis.
Yes, it's very interesting.
Yes. And I like that. But then again, knowing somebody that might have an in with some people, I can drop you a few of my cards and you can pass them out if you need to anyway. Or, having the way of having that means of having somebody like, or Billie Jean or whoever might be on my podcast would be a coup de grace for me too, which would be fun and grow my podcast, because I'm in my third year and I'd like to grow it more with that. But with that too in mind, I have the racket of the day right now, and it's actually called a Sportscraft tennis racket. It's an old wood racket. And then they have, and it's probably around the mid 50s to 1960s racket, maybe early 70, but not very much more than that. They do have and they do have the little strings on the top and bottom of the main strings that they called trebling back then, which were kind of more known for decorative realm of things, but then also it had they had the little knots on one side of the string and it's smooth on the other, but you could also use that for spinning the racket and you go knots or smooth, and whoever called it, smooth, okay, you win the serve, what do you want to do, serve or receive or whatever. But that's what they have on a lot of the older rackets. They have that called trebling on the bottom of the main cross strings of what it is. But this racket is really still a good racket, nice and straight too. It has the original strings in it that they probably came from the factory back then. But of course, back in the older rackets, it was the cow gut or cat gut that they used to string with. But it still has all the strings in it. They're pretty loose, but you could probably very lightly hit a ball with it and it would feel okay. But this actually racket, I like it because it has the ribbons on up and down the side of the frame, and they have the ribbons there that were decorative in a way with the racket too. And made in Taiwan, I believe, or it says Taiwan. So, but through the Sportsmaster, the Sportscraft manufacturing company that made the rackets. They were founded in 1926, and they kind of made the rackets back then. In the early days, they were making rackets, and then probably imported also from Taiwan or imported to Taiwan the rackets for people to make. And it's really kind of a nice color because it has the regular wood on the top part of the head of the racket, and then it's white, and then it's a black throat, and it comes down a little bit in the throat, and then a little white, and then it's and then it has the wood, and probably made of ash, a strong, flexible wood, but it's very strong, very sturdy. So, any of you podcasters out there, if you want to take a look at the racket that I'm showing right now, you can take a look at my tennis podcast, Tennis Volley Talk. And then you YouTubers out there, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment on Tennis Volley Talk if you want to take a look. And you're seeing the racket that I'm showing right now. But that's so interesting to actually have a racket, and I call it Racket of the Week is what I call it. So I think I like doing the research and showing the rackets that I have. One of my many 250 racket collection that I have. But that is the racket of the day for us here today to take a look at. And so along the way, you maybe learned a little bit something about a racket.
Wow. Yeah, that's interesting. Are you asking me a question about
no.
my opinion on the rackets? Oh, okay.
Well, no, I'm just saying that now it's just that you kind of like learned a little bit of something, which is always good. That some people that may not know anything about tennis will learn something about a racket that is old and is preserved now, which is really a good thing to preserve the older rackets anyway, I think.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Because if we didn't preserve them, us tennis players didn't preserve them, nobody would. They'd end up in a trash heap someplace.
Yeah, sure.
So, but with that, it's just so wonderful to be able to show that aspect of tennis and have this tennis podcast to be able to talk tennis with people and learn their journey within their tennis career also. And then also being able to talk to somebody like you that teaches where you do. And of course, then I've had the privilege of being out on those courts that you teach on and playing with my friend Steve that you know too. And it's been fun to be able to get out there and play over there too. So, like I said, I've acquired my game kind of a little bit over the years. So, and you've probably seen me hit a few serves and hit a couple of forehands. So, I think I hit pretty good still.
Yeah, I think the hardest thing at our age, Brian, is the movement.
Mm-hmm. That is true. The movement, you want to get to it, and then you go, no, that I just can't do it as much as you want to.
Right.
But still, with some the people that you can still hit with, or people that hit that are not as hard hitting like the young kids and all of that, you still have the anticipation. So you really don't have to move that much because you know where the ball is going to be. So that does help a little bit too.
True.
Having that anticipation in that respect also.
Right, for sure.
So, but with that, no, I just want to thank you so much, and in having you on my tennis podcast today, and being able to cover and being able to talk to you and get your journey in your tennis career and where it has come. So appreciate you being on Tennis Volley Talk with me today.
Oh, thank you too, Brian. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, it has been such a pleasure. And like I said, I'll give you a few of my cards, and then if you know some way to pass Tennis Volley Talk on to some people, let them know.
Yeah, sure. And I'll see if I can
get Billie Jean King in there. Yes.
Yeah, I'll see if I get Billie Jean to come.
Yes.
Interview with him.
That's it. That'd be great. Oh yeah, that would be so fun. But Kathy, I appreciate, and I'll see you, and I'll see what I can do is finding some of those pictures too of World Team Tennis, and show you those too.
That'll be fun. Okay.
All right.
Thanks so much, Brian. Have a great day.
All right. You too, Kathy.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. That was a great interview. You YouTubers out there, like, subscribe, and comment on my YouTube channel. You podcasters out there, like, subscribe, and make a comment. If you like the phone interviews, I really like doing them. And today, that was such a good interview with an actual person that was on the Pro Tour, which I've had another person that is earlier in my interview over the phone that has been in the pros and been on the tour with all the pros too. So it's getting there, and I love doing the research, and also with doing the racket of the week. I do like doing that. But everybody out there, if you're out there playing and outside and hitting the ball, keep doing it through the week. And I will then talk to you next week. And everybody have a good week. Thank you.